diet filled with movies and television, and only nibble a few books, your storytelling will suffer. I'm John Bookfox, and today we're looking at how a steady diet of movies might be sabotaging your writing. By the time I'm done eating this, you will have learned to be a better storyteller. I'm making this video because I talked with a bunch of novelists on social media who didn't think they needed to read books. This is confusing. How can you know how to write books if you don't read books? Now, they claim that you can learn storytelling from manga, from plays, from video games, from movies, but that's like thinking you'll become a better basketball player by playing football. Sure, you'll become a better athlete, but there are some techniques you can only learn from your sport. When I read books by people who learned all of their storytelling from movies, here are the three main problems I see. 1, single speed pacing. 2, few internals. 3, stuck on visuals. So let's talk about each one of those mistakes, and afterwards, I'll tell you what writers should learn from movies. Let's start with single speed pacing. Movies have a very limited range when playing with time. There's an occasional slow-mo and an occasional montage or fast motion, but by and large, 99% of movies move at real-time speed or clock time. So authors who learn from movies tend to be stuck in a single speed. They don't speed up, they don't slow down. That really hurts their book because they don't slow down for the most exciting parts of their book and they don't speed up over the boring parts. Oh wait, is this a boring part? One superpower of fiction is that it can very easily summarize a week, a month, a year, 10 years. It can also easily linger on a detail for pages. Even in a single dinner conversation, a novel can change pace 10 times. Summarize some dialogue, fast forward through 10 minutes, slow way down to describe some food in detail, and then go back to clock time. So what should writers do? Well, don't construct your entire book around scenes. Scenes are wonderful, right? Don't get me wrong, but they're single speed, and that shouldn't be your only storytelling technique. Writers, you should try to speed up and slow down throughout your book. So if you write a page of dialogue that seems
Dr. Darrow! DJ Darrow, yo, what's up?
For example, they talked about the weather, the war, and their ex-wives. The second mistake that movie-centric writers often make is they don't include enough internals. Now, normally you can't hear what characters are thinking in movies, though there are some exceptions.
Are you smoking? Baby. What? When did you start smoking?
In general, though, movies avoid invisible thoughts and tend to focus on dramatic action and events. What this means is authors who watch a lot of films tend to forget to go into their characters' brains. One of the greatest advantages of going into a character's brain is that it creates intimacy with the reader. I wonder whether this video will get 1 million views. Internals help readers understand character motives. I hope my hair looks good in this video. And they also make characters more relatable. I wish I could stop making this video and just eat popcorn. So if you focus on internals in your book, you're doing storytelling in a way that books are best at. Third and last problem for movie-centric authors. They get stuck on the visuals. Movies are fantastic at visual spectacles like futuristic cities, car chases, fight scenes. So writers who are influenced by movies hyper-focus on the visual sense, but they can never match a movie's knack for the visual. For instance, a panoramic view of the cityscape can convey an enormous amount of info in just 2 or 3 seconds, while a book needs a full page to match that level of detail. Here's a second example. A writer trained on movies will try to describe a character's reaction by describing their expression. That works really well for movies because an actor wrinkles his face in a particular way and you know exactly what they're thinking. But in books, it's usually better to describe a character's movement or their feeling or their thoughts. So instead of visuals, what senses can books do well? 1, smell. 2, taste. 3, touch. And here's a writing challenge for you. Spend an entire paragraph describing a smell in great detail. Could be a really stinky smell, could be a good smell, but describe it thoroughly. Okay, so now let's pivot and talk about 3 things novelists should be learning from movies. Basically, I'm including this in the video because I don't want people gossiping that like, oh, that's the guy that hates movies. That's a straw man fallacy. I believe movies should be one important tool, not the important tool. 1, camera movement. Pay attention to the way that camera moves in a movie because it can teach you how to describe a scene. Look at the beginning of The Dark Knight. We have an establishing shot of the cityscape, then it moves closer to a criminal breaking a window and shooting a grappling hook gun, then it moves even closer to focus upon a detail, a mask. Or you could go the opposite direction. Start small and expand out. Start inside your character's brain, then describe what's in their hand, then in the room, and finally where they're located. Just remember that fiction can go closer than movies into the brain of their character and farther out into movies, meaning into abstract ideas and philosophies. Second thing novelists should learn from movies, scene cuts. A scene cut is any break from a scene and starting a new scene. So when you decide to join this scene with this scene, the magic happens where they meet. So every time movies or television stop a scene and start up a new scene, pay close attention. Why? Because we also have scene breaks in fiction. Every time you stop a chapter, every time you start up a new chapter, every time you use a hashtag or a pound sign to signal a break in the story, that is an opportunity. Let's look at Flowers of the Killer Moon for a great example. Here we have Robert De Niro praising indigenous locals.
Osage are the finest and most beautiful people on God's earth.
And then we jump to a scene with one of them dying in a very ignoble way. That's a strategy of contrast, but you could just as easily do one of humor or comparisons. And the third thing you can learn from movies is dialogue. Look, if there is one writing technique that films above all are fantastic at, it's dialogue.
He didn't fall? Inconceivable.
Just consider how many lines of dialogue you know by heart and quote in daily conversations. I'd wager the number from books is pretty low, while the number from movies and television is pretty high. Every single time characters are speaking on the screen, you should be thinking, how can I be inspired by this for my own book?
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
And here's another writing challenge for you. Pick your absolute favorite movie and find a scene that's mostly dialogue. And what I want you to do is just get a piece of paper and write down every single line of dialogue that the characters say. This will give you a fantastic representation of what great dialogue looks like on the page. My popcorn's done. Hopefully by now you have a better sense of how movies can hamstring your writing, but also what you can learn from them. And if you're committed to improving your writing, then you need to subscribe to my channel.
True. It's another Bookfox video down, guys. Oh, that one never went off.